There are three things in life: death, taxes, and Inducar not having to practice on a Friday impacts the chaos meter for Saturday and Sunday. How's it going, everyone? My name is Hughes Renzel. Welcome back to another episode of Sports by HDR of the IndyCar Reaction Series. By the way, if you haven't checked out all the other races that we've done a reaction to, why don't you go check them out? We've done a couple of them. We haven't done all of them because I did miss a couple, but we have done a ton of races here. We've covered a lot on this series. We got, 3 races to go. We got the Milwaukee Double this weekend and the next weekend to end the season in Monterey, California at the WeatherTech Raceway, otherwise known as Laguna Seca, where we will crown a new champion. We'll talk about the championship points because boy, oh boy, we have a little bit of a difference now in the championship points standings. We'll talk about, of course, the results. We'll take a look at the standings. We'll talk about the Rookie of the Year standings because that's something to keep in mind of. And we get to talk about the winner because Andretti did something this year. That's right. They actually made they kind of accomplished something. They are actually able to sweep all of the new street courses. So this year we had 3 new street courses. This was, of course, the third and final new street course of the year, of course, was the Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. Donald Trump getting to wave the green flag. You gotta do a little pace, you gotta do a little lap around the track was so cool. I mean, the fact that you got to do their grid walk or their introductions that they only ever do at the 500. IndyCar doesn't normally, they don't do that. The only time they do that is at the 500. So for those of you watching it on Fox are probably thinking, what the heck are they doing? No problem. They were doing it to introduce the drivers. Most of the time, they just have them introduce themselves at some point during the race. I don't know how they do that. But anyways, boy, oh boy, this race was fun to talk about. First of all, but yes, anyway, we had Arlington, Texas. We had Markham, Canada, and we had Washington, D.C. Kirkwood won 2 of them, but it was fully Andretti because Ericsson won the race in Canada last weekend, which, by the way, if you want to check out that video, you can. That was what we talked about. Last week was, of course, about Markham. This week we're talking about the fun and exciting race known as DC. And let me tell you, entering this weekend, there were a lot of questions thinking about, how is the track going to be? Even though that we saw last weekend that it was on Saturday and Sunday, we saw chaos. Now, that was not planned for Friday to not work. This was already planned to have Saturday and Sunday only. That was the gist. Markham had a practice one on a Friday. It got moved because someone forgot to get the track ready. I've already made a rant about that in the last week's video. This week, we're talking about Washington, D.C. The track was already ready to go, and they were already planning on doing Saturday and Sunday. So going into Sunday, you had Palou, Kirkwood on pole in the front row. You had Malukas in the top 6. You had a lot of drivers around, and boy, oh boy, it was crazy. First of all, we do have a couple accidents to talk about. First of all, there were a couple debris cautions. Sorry, Will Buxton. I'm going to say it right now, Fox, pay that guy good money. Please do. Because the way this guy is doing his job correctly and getting people excited about this race. I mean, Kirkwood dominated this race. Out of the total laps that he led, looking at this race, he actually led. Let me get to it here. No, I did not want that. There we go. He led 128 laps on 147. The only other time someone led, it was Will Power, who led 4 and 12 from Graham Rahal. So that was the only. Hang on, I'm looking to see. Oh, and Scott McLaughlin. Ooh, forgot about that. Scott McLaughlin, he led 3 laps. So basically, if you take a look about it, 19 laps were not led by by Kyle Kirkwood, and most of them were led by him. So the fact that that was the case, that tells you how good Kirkwood was. I mean, this guy has already been known for being the king of the street course, because that's what he's been known for, is by winning races on the streets. The fact that he was able to do it not just this year, but the fact that he kind of showed two sides of how to catch up with Palou. He did the one in Arlington. He basically was not leading most of that race until the very end when he passed Palou. This one, he dominated and let the chaos hit Palou specifically. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first wreck of the day was on lap 35, actual contact. And this is with Malukas and Stingray Robb. Again, that big implications for points. Malukas started 6th, he finishes 24th, so he lost, 22 spots. It's hard to figure out who had like the worst one, as of course, 19 were lost from McLaughlin. Again, Palou, he lost 19. I thought he was the biggest. It might be Malukas, because you lose 22 spots in this race, and he hit the wall. Then Stingray Robb out of nowhere just added more contact to it. And already when you talk about Malukas having already a bad injury history with this year because of what happened at Nashville, I'm hoping that guy can actually race at the Milwaukee Mile next week. And then of course Ria's VK. By the way, you're wondering how that happened. You could ask Marcus Armstrong. He bumped into Rasmussen. VK had problems there, so that kind of affects things. Lap 128. That was, of course, Scott McLaughlin. Ferrucci was 132. He actually retired his car for today. He had problems at the beginning of the race. He finishes at 132. And then we get to Alex Palou. Oh boy. Palou fans, coming into this weekend, it was big obvious that if Palou won this race, he would have put a 162 points gap, theoretically him claiming the championship. This may have been me, because I predicted Palou to win, which tells me I should not do that for the rest of the races, even though there's only like 3 left anyway. But the fact is that Palou, he actually, on his one stop, had to come in to do a penalty because he hit the competitor's tires. Yeah, oof, that does kind of hurt. Okay, but you're good. Comes in and almost has a Scott Dixon moment. By the way, I mentioned this happened back in St. Pete, the first race of the year. Scott Dixon comes in, one of the tire guys, he wasn't ready, he wasn't finishing with the tire. The car is ready to go out. Dixon goes out. He brings out a caution. Palou was able to dominate, wins that race. Same thing here, but Palou, they kind of saw that the front left guy was not ready, and that stop was so long enough that Kirkwood lapped him, and that was big championship point implication. And then add more injury to the wound. He of course hits the wall. That add more damage. He finishes 3 laps down in this race. There were, of course, Felix Rosenqvist. He finishes 1 lap down as well, along with Willie Foster, Marcus Armstrong, because of that penalty, as well as Award, Dennis Hauger. That does kind of affect things. Christian Rasmussen. So only 13 guys finishes on the lead lap. Again, I kind of mentioned who had like the biggest loss that lost a ton of spots. To go to Malukas, started 6th. He finishes 24th. Quiet day for a couple of guys. Colette, he finishes 11th. Schumacher started 24th. He finishes 11th in this race. Grosjean started 19th. He finishes 10th. Rossi finishes at 12th. Inside the top 10 now, Colette, the Newgarden. Scott Dixon had a nice solid day, finishing in the top 10. He started 13th. Nolan Siegel. I might go with Kiffin, because he had 18 spots, and I believe he does deserve that of being the biggest mover in the race. I don't know. They might give it to someone else, but I'm going to give it to Kiffin Simpson because this guy started 21st in this race in a backup car because he wrecked in qualifying. The Tal Scott Dixon didn't make it to the Fast 12 is because Dixon had a good lap. Dixon starting outside of the top 12. Kiffin is, near the back in a backup car. Wasn't first, selling the race, but I think at one solid point, he was up in third. Yeah, he was up in third most of the day. He had a pretty good solid day. You look at Ferrucci. He did finish in. He still finished. He retired his car. He had a tough day as well. That will be it right there. Now, I mentioned about the rookies because Dennis Hauger had a bad day. His points lead now for Rookie of the Year is down to 24 points from Kyle Collette, and Mick Schumacher is 34 points now. We still have 2 ovals, which we know Collette's good at. We don't know, and then Laguna Seca. So the fact that Schumacher, he's having a good comeback here. He did finish in the top 10. Honestly, this will be an interesting battle because we're talking about Rookie of the Year. Of course, we have to talk about the championship standings and about Pelot's day. I guarantee you about if this race, I think today was just a tough day for him. But he is now 91 points ahead of Kirkwood. We're going to Milwaukee. Pelot almost won that race. He lost to Christian Rasmussen. This is a double. So we're doing Milwaukee. We're going to do Milwaukee on a Saturday and Sunday. And if they don't do good here, then we're going to go into Laguna Seca with actually a championship battle that could go down to the wire. Of course, we will talk about that. That means on Sunday we'll do the first Milwaukee Mile. Then on Monday we'll do the second Milwaukee Mile because, of course, that's just how we do on this show. So Kirkwood's not out of it yet. 110 from Christian Lundgaard. Now Lundgaard was not in third at the time, but he is now because Malukas jumps down to fourth at 142. 154 from Award. I don't think Newgarden can make a big comeback. Definitely not Else. So now we're going to see all these little battles around. You look at Rosenqvist could still finish in the top 10 in points around Ericsson. He is farther away from Newgarden. Newgarden is, he's holding it there, but Ericsson has 6 points over Felix Rosenqvist. You look at McLaughlin, he holds he's 1 point behind Rosenqvist, and you talk about that battle for 10th with Power and VK. That's something to keep in mind of. You look at Dixon, he's now 12th. Kevin Simpson having a pretty solid year. He is getting better. And we'll kind of talk about this near the end of the season where I will grade all the IndyCar drivers. But I kind of think about Kiffin having, he's improved since his beginning season. Last year he did finish 17th in points. Right now, if he finishes, this would be his highest finish in the points in his career. Of course, Scott Dixon, you have 3 races left to try to win a race to keep your streak alive before, him leaving to go to McLaren. 13th, as of course, is Graham Rahal. There's a ton of battles around. We are keeping our eyes on the top 5 because, if Award and Malukas, they have good days, Kirkwood, that points gap could come down to Pelot just having to finish in these races. He would have to finish, he would still have to finish, but enough to where it's still a fight for the championship. And I know all the Ganassi fans are going to be saying, oh, why are you happy about this? This is stressful. Let me tell you something. Because this is what IndyCar needs. Because I get it, we have the dominant season last year from Pelot, which was great. Pelot dominated last year was awesome. Because you know why? Because everyone had the storyline of how do we beat Pelot? That was at the end of last season. Coming into the season, that was the main storyline. Can anyone beat Pelot? And we have seen that they can. It doesn't matter how they do it. It's a matter of if you get in front of Pelot, that's the storyline right there. That's been the main takeaway is Pelot, this is his dynasty. Pelot is in a dynasty right now. We don't like to say it because We gave it to the Chiefs, of course. We gave it to the Patriots. We gave it to the Lakers, the Warriors, the Celtics. We gave it to everybody. But I look at Pelot and Chip Ganassi. They are on a dynasty since 2020 because you had Dixon. You had Pelot in 2021. 2022, they were in a fight there, but of course they didn't win with Power because of Power, being consistent. 23, Pelot. 24, Pelot. 25, Pelot. Pelot's trying to win 4 championships in a row. We can see him. I mean, hey, you know what? Maybe Kansas City can get tips on how to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Just saying. Anyways, now, as of course, these other battles are interesting, but again, no one's talking about Newgarden in a contract year, right? I like how all last year we heard all about Power being in a contract year. The fact that Newgarden is not in a contract, that could maybe be different because Power got 1 win, and he still wasn't able to stay. He went to, to Andretti. But I'm sorry, Inducar, but if you let Newgarden, and this is going to Penske, this is not a bad reference to Penske. I'm just saying, Roger Penske, if you let Newgarden go and he joins Ganassi, everyone's going to be mad at you. I'm sorry. Because if you have Pelot, the best road course, street course racer, and the best oval racer on the same team, it's over. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like, oh, Penske, you don't tell Newgarden to go to Ganassi because, everyone will get mad. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying is that if you put the 2 best guys on the different types of tracks that we go to for IndyCar, it's going to make it harder to try to beat them. But, again, going back to what I was talking about this storyline, you got an answer how they can beat Pelot. If he wrecks, that's an open free right there. You talk about passing him. But the main takeaway is that you go into Laguna Seca after Milwaukee. It's that talks of who's going to win this championship. Is Pelot going to not win the championship? Because if that points gap is very, very close heading into not this weekend, but next weekend, going into Labor Day weekend, and we're talking, we have the NASCAR playoffs about to start, but if you look at IndyCar in Monterey, California, and you got these storylines, is Andretti going to win a championship? Is Kirkwood going to get Andretti a championship? Is Pelot going to, is he going to reign still supreme over IndyCar? And is that outcome going to become, different if we see Pelot win twice at Milwaukee? Yes. But that's the idea, is that the parity around this sport is at an all-time high because you have all these different drivers. You got Pelot, Kirkwood, Malukas, Newgarden, Dixon, all these drivers that are going together, going to these racetracks. The tracks that they're going to are being built on the streets. And the fact is that you're going into Milwaukee with a chance of Pelot could be in danger of not winning a championship for Ganassi. That's insane right there to just think about. And that would put people's butts in seats. I'm just saying right there, IndyCar. Now, granted, the fact that the American won the American 250, yeah, that's actually kind of cool because, it's a way to celebrate America's 250th birthday. Heck, we got stinking Chase Briscoe from Indiana to win a race in Chicagoland Speedway in Illinois on 4th of July weekend. I'm just saying, the fact is that you're going to bring IndyCar to Monterey, California with a chance that we could see something completely different in the last time Chip Ganassi did a championship was back in 2022 when Kirkwood was consistent. And I'm not saying that, Pelot he's going to lose. I'm not saying he's going to lose the championship. I'm saying is that when you look at the stats, look how consistent. You talk about consistency. This is what Pelot has. 6 wins, 7 poles, 11 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and 558 laps led. Kirkwood, 2 wins, 1 pole, 9 top 5s, 13 top 10s, 220 laps led. Yes, he isn't leading a lot, but he is staying consistently being in the top 5 and being in the top 10 along with Pelot. And you look at his next competitor, they're kind of in the same way. You look at, this is Christian Lundgaard. Same amount of wins at Kirkwood. Same amount of poles. He has 7 top 5 and 11 top 10. But yet, when when he struggles on the road courses, Lundgaard can come up. He won at Indy by beating Malukas. And that would be kind of crazy to see Malukas win on a road course, which if that does happen, I'm pretty sure every single oval person will lose their minds about that. He has the 90 laps. You look at someone as Lundgaard. You look at Malukas. 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s. He does have a pole, no wins. I mean, Award has a win. 8, I mean, that's what the battle is about. I don't think Malukas or Award can bring the fight unless they can just get close enough. So I think this battle is a 3-way battle between Ganassi, Andretti, and McLaren. That's the fight right now, heading into Milwaukee. And if this goes down after Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be a big talk to think about because we don't know. Ganassi does not have a good track record on ovals. Just going to say that right now, so that way I'm going to try to say, the fact is that the last time Ganassi won an oval, yes, it was at Nashville, but that's the only other oval that I think they've won. I mean, they won at Iowa, but that was like the last time they went there was last year. Most of the time they win ovals, they're winning at the 500. Now, we did see Dixon win at Gateway. Okay, that's cool. I'm just saying is that you're going to see Penske up front at Milwaukee. And if all the Ganassi people want to come and say, how dare you say that, Heath, look at the stats. Look at Phoenix. When it was at Phoenix, guess who was up front battling? Christian Rasmussen, Malukas, Joseph Newgarden. St. Louis, Newgarden won that race. Newgarden won the 2 oval races other than the 500, which was flawless. So, I'm saying is that this is a championship fight that could come down to the wire. And if that's going to put people butts in seats and make people watch the races, then yeah, let there be parity. Let this sport be amazing. This sport is already amazing as it is. When you get finishes like the 500 this year, and you get a storyline of can anyone beat Palou, that's going to get people's butts in seats. I think that's a car alarm going off. Anyways, I haven't thought about this race. I thought it was pretty good. I like how, like, the past 2 weeks I've been trying to, like, watch these races. Couldn't get to watch the race on Fox. I was at a Garth Brooks concert. So, might as well mention that now. Anyways, of course, we have Milwaukee, doubleheader this weekend. The last time they did that, it was back in 2024, if I remember correctly. As we do head in to a race where there are some things on the line in this one. Because, before we even, as we do exit with this, you talk about, there's a thing where you can actually look at, driver, spotter, no. There is, a driver performance and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, the one thing that's hard about with this is that they do practice. They do a practice on Friday, and then they qualify at 11 a.m. Saturday, and they're qualifying you do 2 laps. The first lap is where you're gonna where you're starting for the first race, and then the second one is where you start for the second race. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. It's how it works. Anyways, that's gonna do it from here. Thank you guys for watching. This is gonna be an interesting series as we come down to the wire here with the IndyCar series. Like I said, we got Milwaukee Mile doubleheader, and then we race at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. Thank you guys for watching. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I haven't looked recently, but the last time I saw about the subscriber count, over 93% of you guys are not subscribed. So, go if you love IndyCar, if you love NASCAR, if you look all things sports and you want to watch this channel, go down and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon, and also comment down below what did you think of this race. As of course, it was probably one of the most longest races there ever has been in IndyCar series, other than the 500. This race was 147 laps long to equal 250 miles. But let me know what you thought down below. Thank you guys for watching. This is Sports by HDR. My name is Heath Renzel, and we'll see you next time.